What is good with you guys? What is up? Back with another video, and I want to appreciate all of y'all for tuning into this, and I appreciate the support. But I did ask this on a live last night, and I wanted to go more into depth of this. Who was your favorite Money in the Bank cash in? Or what is your favorite Money in the Bank winner? Now, more so in this video, we will be doing our most favorite Money in the Bank winners. And we'll probably do cash-ins more towards Money in the Bank. So, with this, we are going to sit here and we are going to dissect my top 5 Money in the Bank winners. Now, I didn't put any females on the list, not, against what they do. I did like the likes of Carmella, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka, and Bayley, but they will get their own separate video, which there's not been many of them, which is also why I didn't want to put them in this video. I kind of want to wait till after this Money in the Bank, women's Money in the Bank match to do that. But let's get this started. Number 5 on my list is when Dean Ambrose won in 2016. Dean Ambrose winning in 2016, along with Rollins and Reigns going for the world title, it made sure Dean Ambrose was not a forgotten commodity from the Shield. It made sure at the time that he was still getting like a form of a push. And that match had the likes of a Sami Zayn, a Chris Jericho, a Cesaro, a Alberto Del Rio, and Kevin Owens. You could have honestly gave the briefcase to either Sami, Owens, or Cesaro. Alberto Del Rio already had won it. Chris Jericho, he's already a made person in the WWE, so there's no need for Chris Jericho to win. Dean Ambrose was the right choice here. The only other people it could have went to was either Cesaro, Owens, or Zayn. Not mad at the winner. He also cashed in same night to become world champion, which, honestly, I love it. Can't even be mad at that. You can't be mad at Dean Ambrose winning the Money in the Bank in 2016 because, like I said to begin this, he was not forgotten from the Shield. You would have thought with Rollins and Reigns constantly at each other's necks for the world title that Dean might have been sent down to the mid-card or he might have been forgotten about in the foreseeable future. But instead, he was still there. He was just looking from afar and took a different route. He didn't have to go through a number 1 contenders match. He won the Money in the Bank briefcase to guarantee himself being in a world title shot. So, number 5, Dean Ambrose, without a doubt. 2010 was a year that I was formidably interested, honestly. We still got Randy Orton, causing his terror, being world champion. And in 2010, we had The Miz winning the Money in the Bank contract. Now, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. When I tell y'all that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, it was because of who was in the match. Not really most of these guys, it would have made sense for them to win. But that really kickstarted The Miz's career afterwards, being in the world title picture. And Miz got over because he was so hated as a heel, especially for cashing in on a person, even though Randy Orton was kind of still a heel at the time. He definitely cashed in on one of the beloved superstars. And I don't think nobody wanted to see The Miz as WWE champion. Nobody wanted to see that. I liked it because the guy that you don't want to become champion becomes champion. Somebody that you're like, why? Why would he do it? And that right there gave us The Miz we have today. Because if Miz does not win this Money in the Bank in 2010, I don't think he becomes the Miz now. I don't think he becomes, a guy that makes the Intercontinental Championship prestigious. I don't think he becomes a 2-time Grand Slam champion, obviously. But it just kickstarted him being in that scene, always having matches, always having titles, always being around in the company. Because at the time, Miz was not that valuable of a person in the WWE. He was not John Cena level, Dwayne Johnson, Randy Orton level, but he was having matches with John Cena. He was having matches with Randy Orton. He had Alex Riley, which, if y'all don't know, Alex Riley has a great theme song, but he was very, very good in 2010. And that Money in the Bank match definitely had Chris Jericho again, Mark Henry, Ted DiBiase, Randy Orton, Edge, Evan Bourne, The Miz, who was United States champion at the time, and John Morrison. In this match, can I just be honest? I think the only other people you could have went with here was Evan Bourne or John Morrison. I don't think Ted DiBiase was all of that. It's sad to say, with that being he has a father, Ted DiBiase Sr., the $1 Million Man. I don't know why they didn't just give him that gimmick. Chris Jericho, like I said, he definitely already has a name. He doesn't need it. Mark Henry, we know Mark Henry. He ends up going through the Hall of Fame about a year or two later. Edge, Edge has already won it twice. We should probably give it to somebody else. And this is later year Edge, not 2005, 2007 Edge. Evan Bourne, you could have went with Evan Bourne, but I don't think Evan Bourne would have been respectable as a world champion, to be honest. And then the runner-up, in my opinion, should have been John Morrison. But The Miz won this. And like I said, it helped his career so much in a way that he became who he is today. Everybody loves The Miz, whether he's heel or face, no matter what, whether it's the awesome truth. That is The Miz. Number 3. Now, number 3 gets a little complicated. Because at WrestleMania 23, we had Mr. Kennedy win the Money in the Bank briefcase. But then he gets injured, so they have to call an audible. Mr. Kennedy now loses his Money in the Bank contract in a one-on-one after winning it against the Rated R superstar, Edge. And this is why Edge is number 3. Edge this was the first time we've seen something like this, where the Money in the Bank winner that actually won the briefcase, and Money in the Bank was held at WrestleMania around this time. It wasn't just its own pay-per-view. It was literally one of the matches at WrestleMania, which I liked when Money in the Bank was at WrestleMania. And also, I believe that it should have had its own pay-per-view. It started to become such a commodity, especially with the likes of what Shelton Benjamin did and Matt Hardy did in those Money in the Bank matches at WrestleMania. I think they should have had their own pay-per-view. Now, obviously, you got to have more matches around that, which gave them another pay-per-view to put on, in a certain month, mostly around the summer. I do think Edge was the right audible call. And that's why Edge is number 3 on my list of Money in the Bank winners. This was the first time we had seen anything like this, where the Money in the Bank winner ends up getting injured. He's going to be out for some time. So what do? Hey, you got to go one-on-one against somebody, and they're going to win your briefcase, and then they're going to get the world title shot. Now, Mr. Kennedy, if y'all don't know who Mr. Kennedy is, Mr. Kennedy was a guy, relatively a more aggressive LA Knight. Let's just put that out there. He didn't have the glasses or the charisma, but when he would hold his hand out, a microphone would drop and he would go, Mr. Kennedy. And then he would pause, and then it would be Kennedy. If you don't know Mr. Kennedy, I advise you guys to go look up who Mr. Kennedy is. But he was the original inaugural winner in WrestleMania 23. But Edge was the holder of the briefcase because Kennedy got injured. And it gave us one of the great cash-ins from Edge. So, I'm going to go with Edge at number 3. Now, I could have said his first one. Edge winning it the first time. Honestly, I would not have been, what's the word I'm looking for? I wouldn't have been opposed to putting Edge's first, actual win on here. But the only reason this one is at number 3, like I said, is because this was the first time we seen the Money in the Bank winner have to lose it to somebody else without actually cashing in. So, Edge is number 3. Number 2. Number 2 was one of my favorites. And the reason why I say it was one of my favorites was because he honestly became somebody that was beloved. He was beloved. He was a world champion, intercontinental champion. He was beloved in our hearts. It was too bad. He was too good. Mr. Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler in 2012, he had Big E and AJ Lee on his side, as his little team whatsoever, his faction. And looking at this match, you had Dolph Ziggler, the winner. You had Christian, Cody Rhodes, Damien Sandow, Santino Marella, Tensai. Honestly, y'all don't know who Tensai is? Please go look him up. Nothing too flashy out of him. Tyson Kidd and Hunico. The only other person that could have won this is Christian. Cody Rhodes was still young. I don't think he was world champion material. Damien Sandow, he ends up later on winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, fails to cash in. And then Santino Marella, that would have been, I'm not saying it would have been great as in Santino Marella winning and actually becoming world champion. I think it would have been a nice rub to the fans to have Santino Marella win, in my opinion. I don't think it would have been a logical thing by them to do at first, but Santino Marella was always a fan favorite. So if Santino Marella won, I wouldn't have been mad with that. Now, also, Santino Marella at the Elimination Chamber, I think he was going against Daniel Bryan, and I think it was for a championship. I forget which championship, but Santino Marella hits the Cobra, and I believe it's Daniel Bryan, and he hits the Cobra on him, and he almost wins. That pop for Santino Marella when he almost won, crazy. It was crazy. It was wild. And I need to remember who the actual wrestler was. I'm not sure if it was or wasn't Daniel Bryan. But when he hit that Cobra, he got a huge pop. I can only imagine Santino Marella at this time in 2012 getting the Money in the Bank briefcase, actually cashing it in. You don't even have to give him a lengthy run. He could have held it for 3-4 weeks. And he could have lost it at the next pay-per-view. There would have been nothing wrong with that. It would have been a nice feel-good thing for the fans because Santino Marella had a lot of fans. He was comical. He's pretty much R-Truth. But R-Truth is 10 times funny. But Tensai, like I said, nothing flashy out of Tensai. I don't really know why they brought him back and just repackaged him. It didn't work the first time, and it didn't work the second time. Tyson Kidd, I don't think Tyson Kidd really should have been a winner as well. And Hunico, I mean, I didn't really believe in him at the time. So either Dolph Ziggler, Christian, or Santino Marella. Because Christian, actually, by the way, he could have possibly, and I mean possibly, have won, because there are previous years where he's in the match and he does not win. He honestly might have the most participation awards in these types of matches because he never wins it. So, I mean, there's about 3 guys that could have won this. Santino Marella, if you wanted to go with a fan favorite, Christian, and then Dolph Ziggler, who again, I didn't have a problem with that. So, Dolph Ziggler was one of the right choices. Let's just say that. I wouldn't say he was the best overall option, but he was the right choice. And then number 1. Number 1 is the only person to ever win the briefcase twice himself. The Second City Saint, Mr. Straight Edge Society, the best in the world, Mr. CM Punk. He won at WrestleMania 24. WrestleMania 24 had the likes of Shelton Benjamin, Carlito, CM Punk, Chris Jericho, John Morrison, MVP, and Mr. Kennedy. Can I be honest with you guys? There's only 2 people here that could have possibly won this outside of Punk. And this is my opinion. Shelton Benjamin and MVP were the only 2 people that could have possibly have won this outside of Punk. But if y'all don't remember, Punk was very, very good in ECW. He was not an afterthought. Now, was he Shelton Benjamin level at this point? No, he was not. Was he MVP level? No, he was not. Was he Chris Jericho? No, he was not. Carlito was even more popular than CM Punk. You know, this is around the time he still has This Fire Burns as his theme song instead of Cult of Personality. And it gave us some good cash-ins. He didn't just cash in against Jack Swagger. Oh no. He cashed in against Jeff Hardy. You know, a beloved fan favorite. And then, WrestleMania 25, Punk again, Kane, Mark Henry, again Shelton Benjamin, again MVP, and then Kofi Kingston. And instead of Mr. Kennedy, they added Finlay. And then a guy who's been in these matches multiple times, Christian. Now, with WrestleMania 25, I don't think Kane should have won. I don't think Mark Henry should have won because he eventually gets his Hall of Fame run, which I think if he wins this, we don't do the Hall of Fame. Shelton Benjamin, not really sure about him. I think he could have been a runner-up since he didn't win the previous year. I always felt like MVP and Shelton Benjamin could have been world champions, but MVP was great where he was. He was a mid-card merchant, and I loved that for MVP. I loved that. He always had the United States Championship. It just went hand in hand with him. And then you had Kofi Kingston. I think Kofi Kingston was too young at the time. Christian would have been a reliable option as well. And then Finlay, which I don't think Finlay was world champion material. So, I liked CM Punk's WrestleMania 24 and WrestleMania 25 Money in the Bank winning the best out of what I said. And that is the end of this video. And like I said, we will be doing the Money in the Bank cash-ins later towards Money in the Bank. Now, we'll do men's Money in the Bank cash-in, and we'll do women's Money in the Bank cash-ins. So, I will see y'all in the next one. Like, comment, share. subscribe. Damn it, why the fuck did I just burp?